balance you've gotten so far in the first two games, the run, the pass, and how the flow seems to be pretty good.
Well, I mean, that's the one thing we strive for offensively is to be able to, not necessarily be 50-50 run pass, but be able to execute both well. And during the course of the game, obviously what we do is based upon predicated on what the defense gives us, and we've been fortunate that we've been able, the first game they did some things to take away the running backs, and our quarterback had some big plays. The play action stuff has been good, but then in the second game, they decided to maybe force the running back to make plays, and we were fortunate that our rushing attack got going.
Coach Hetzel said he saw, Brennan not really hitting those gaps as hard as he could, doing a little dancing. Was that what you saw as well? What advice did you have for him?
Well, that was something that we worked on. We're a zone team, and our zones are what we call our power type runs, where there's one cut and you got to get downhill. And we thought in the first game Brandon was maybe trying to make something out of taking too long to get to the hole. And, we just stressed that, hey, make a read, make a decision, stick a foot in the ground, and attack the line of scrimmage. And I thought he did a better job of that in week 2.
What did you think of Albert? I mean, that run was probably the best run that I've seen him in here in terms of cutting, getting downfield.
Yeah, Albert's a guy that, as we said before, we've got two guys, that we know for sure have the ability. And, we look at Albert as a starter from the standpoint, 1A and 1B, but he's a kid that works hard. He's got great vision. I was glad to see him get in the end zone for his first touchdown. Did a great job of making a guy miss in space, and that's what you see out of Albert, and that's what you typically get, day in and day out. And that's how he's been able to put himself in position to where he helps us offensively.
What's the biggest difference between him and Brandon?
Yeah, I think Albert's probably a little more power, a little more powerful. Brandon has the ability to hit the home run. He has the long speed you like. But they're a lot more similar than they are different.
It seemed like last game the wide receivers and even the running backs were doing a good job blocking. Was that something you emphasized during practice last week?
Well, it's definitely something that we've talked about. With what we do on offense, perimeter blocking is as important as our offensive line protecting our quarterback, because when you're working to get the ball out in space to your playmakers, it entails guys out on the perimeter also making blocks at the point of attack. And I thought last week we got better with our perimeter blocking. I thought our backs did a good job in protection, and then our receivers, when the ball broke to the second level, we were covering guys up a lot better than we did in the first game.
What are you expecting from the UConn defense?
Well, we've got one game to evaluate them off of, and we used last year's game, even though they've got a new coordinator in there with Coach Brown leaving the program. What we saw against Towson was a pressure defense that played a lot of man coverage, and it's a lot similar to what they did last year against us. They played a lot of man, disguised their coverages, and they like to get the 8th guy in the box. So for us, the 8th guy in the box means our zone read game, we've got to be on point with our reads to eliminate the extra guy, and then we've also got to obviously win out on the perimeter when we get man-to-man coverage.
Last year, the offensive line, you have 6 sacks, and I think that's a particular number that's angered them a little bit. Have you seen them particularly motivated this week, and how have you evaluated them through 2 weeks now?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're necessarily motivated by the fact that what happened last year. I think they're motivated and getting better, like each and every position on our team needs to do. I thought they made strides from week 1 to week 2. I thought their landmarks were a lot better. They played with a little more leverage up front. I think they were executing and not making a lot of mistakes. So from that standpoint, I thought we got better. But with that being said, we still, with a lot of positions on our offense, need to continue to get better. And there's still so much more room for improvement from a fundamental and technical standpoint.
How did Michael Dunn grade out, starting his first season as a starter?
I mean, he's done okay. I mean, I can't recall exactly what his grade was, but he's having some freshman struggles in there. But with every game, he gets more and more experience, and we saw him get better from week 1 to week 2, which is what we want to see out of every position. And we expect, and our expectation is that he'll get better with the more playing time and going into week 3.
Just for the offense going on the road for the first game, how do you think this group will react? So far, they seem pretty smooth. doing what they need to do, managing the game?
Well, I don't think we've started out the way I'd like to, and we've had 2 games in a row where our first couple of drives we've ended in touchdowns when we've had the ball in some favorable positions. So for us, I think the goal is for us to kind of get off to a fast start. We need to kind of try to take their crowd out of the game. We need to find a way to have success early, and that's something that we've preached all week, is to start fast and finish strong.
Kind of a homecoming a little bit for Andrew Isaacs. What do you see his role being?
I mean, he's a third tight end, plays in some short yardage, goal line situations for us. I think with each week, as he continues to learn and gain experience, you'll see his role continue to develop. But he's a big time potential as a player for us, and we're happy to have him.
Any surprises so far in the first 2 games from the offensive guys that jumped out to you that done more than you would have thought?
No, I mean, like I said, we've still got a lot of work to do. We're just scratching the surface from a fundamental and technical standpoint. We got a lot of work to do. So for us, it's go out, get better each practice, get better each game. Probably if there is a surprise, it's not an individual thing, but a team thing or a group thing that we haven't turned the ball over. We haven't done the things that we like to call critical errors. We haven't had a lot of interceptions, a lot of fumbles, a lot of penalties. And if we can keep playing clean that way, we'll give ourselves a chance to win a lot of ball games. And that's probably the most pleasing thing from an offensive standpoint in the first 2 games. And we'd like to continue that trend.